The wheel of time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend. Legend fades to myth, and even myth is long forgotten when the age that gave it birth comes again. In one age, called the Third Age by some, an age yet to come, an age long past, a wind rose in the mountains of mist. The wind was not the beginning. There are neither beginnings nor endings to the turning of the wheel of time, but it was a beginning. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Sandbox. With Amazon's The Wheel of Time series set to come out later this month, I wanted to give my review of the source material, the best-selling fantasy classic, The Eye of the World. I'll also be coming out with a review for the second book, The Great Hunt, hopefully before the show premieres, but if not, definitely before the first season comes to an end. The Wheel of Time is highly regarded as one of the greatest fantasy series of all time, providing inspiration for current best-selling authors like Brandon Sanderson and George R.R. Martin. While Jordan was heavily inspired by Tolkien himself, and it's evident that The Wheel of Time pulls many things from The Lord of the Rings, Jordan still manages to divert expectations after a familiar setup and provide a unique world with a vastly different cast of characters. But that's more than enough of an introduction. Let's dive on into the review for Book 1 of The Wheel of Time, The Eye of the World. Starting off with the writing component, as I like to do, Jordan is clearly an accomplished writer who has a unique voice and has mastered the art of setting a scene. Jordan is not shy to detail heavy paragraphs, and while I myself am not a fan of overly detailed writing, it was very easy to see the picture that Jordan was painting within my mind, which allowed me to enjoy the scene fully once it got going. His clear style allowed for a fresh and yet simultaneously nostalgic tone for this book. The story feels familiar, touching on those tones and tropes that Tolkien brought to life, but also expands upon them, providing a unique take on the story. As far as pacing goes, there are definite ebbs and flows with this book. There will be chapters that you won't be looking forward to reading, and then others that you just simply can't wait for. And this can make the reading experience thrilling, although sometimes frustrating. And thematically, this is your traditional good versus evil, light versus darkness story, although the cultural and historical implications, as well as the allegories within this book, are definitely there if you're looking for them. Moving on to this story, the premise is a simple one, but seeing as it is comparable to The Fellowship of the Ring, it's one to look forward to. At the end of the day, the plot is basically about a group of characters being forced out of their comfort zone and into a world of fantastical creatures and magic wielders. They're going from point A to point B with bumps in the road along the way, which can certainly make the events that do happen feel arbitrary and contrived at times, as it's clear that Jordan is doing a lot of legwork to set up his 15-book series. But all that said, his writing does keep you captivated, and the events that do happen, I would say, are unique and interesting. The stakes are high here, and they continuously grow, and the action serves well for a first entry, given that there is a lot of setup and introductions that need to take place first. Moving on to the character component, they are certainly not as captivating as those in the Stormlight Archive or A Song of Ice and Fire, but they are more interesting and multi-dimensional than those in The Lord of the Rings, in my opinion. Jordan really wanted to tell that story of the farm boy in a small country town who wants to see the world, but when his call to action does arrive, he's scared and hesitant to leave. He doesn't want to accept that the Wheel of Time, or fate as we know it, has bigger plans in store for him. He's nobody special, he's just a shepherd from the Two Rivers. It's a heartwarming story and a believable one, and it makes Rand a character that you can easily root for. For me, Lan the Warder was definitely a standout character, as was the Aes Sedai that he is bonded to, Moiraine. Mat Cauthon definitely provided some much needed levity to the story, albeit some new dangers as well. And Elaine might also be my favorite minor character. I certainly hope to see more of her. The relationships that these characters create along their journey and the lessons that they all learn are well executed by Jordan. And at the end of the day, I would say that the weakest character component is the villain, which is perfectly okay for the first book in any series. Jordan uses this faceless villain and his minions to build up the stakes and story as we continue to learn more about them all. And lastly, this brings me to the setting. While reading this, it felt like Jordan was just kind of going through the motions, bringing our characters from one village to the next, showing us this city and that one, look over here, now look over there. But after looking back on it, he barely touched the vast world shown in the maps at all. There is a lot left to touch on, which makes this book feel small in scope, which it definitely isn't. The world, its geography, its cultures, and history has many similarities to The Lord of the Rings, but it still manages to feel fresh at the same time. Now, as for the magic system, it is certainly touched upon, but as of this book alone, it just feels like an elemental system coupled with a Stark witch. Many hints are thrown out there, as well as some foreshadowing, which I'm sure I didn't pick up on all of it, but Jordan teases you just enough while still giving future books the chance to enlighten you more. All in all, this is a beloved book by many, and I can certainly see why. It sets up a lot, but still manages to entice you and bring you along a fantastical journey that is believable and keeps you on the edge of your seat. It does suffer from feeling trivial at times and like a ripoff of Tolkien's works, and its pacing and job of setting things up to come doesn't help it either, but for what it is, this book delivers and is greatly executed. Overall, I'm going to give this one a 7.5. It is well achieved and holds a special place in many hearts, making it a timeless classic. It leaves room to grow, but serves as an excellent introduction to every aspect within this world. However, I doubt that this is anyone's favorite for those who've read the entire series. Let me know what you guys think about this book and the series overall. Was I too rough on this one, or was I not rough enough? I want to hear it all down in the comments below. Normally, this is where I would do a spoiler talk for these bigger franchises, but I feel like this one's already been talked to death enough, and with Amazon's show coming out, I feel like that will be a good time for me to contribute to that conversation after everyone has had a chance to hear about it and read the book or watch the show, or both. As for now, that's the end of this review. Thank you so much to those of you who tuned in, and be on the lookout for my review of The Great Hunt in the weeks to come. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all next time.